Vinaka and welcome to Talk Business. And if you're joining us from around the region, a big hello to you too. This week on the show, you're in for a treat as we serve up something real special. It's all about nurturing those who hope to make it big in the hospitality sector. Talk Business enters the kitchen of the country's largest cookery school to showcase just how aspiring students are prepped into becoming master chefs. From fine-tuning basic food preparation skills to mastering the art of whipping up mouth-watering dishes, we show you just how the Fiji National University is helping students become entrepreneurs in the food business. That's all coming up in the next half hour. The great Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw once said that there is no sincere love than the love of food. After all, food is perhaps our only common language that ignites our senses and touches the soul. Here in the Pacific, food is our way of life. It's who we are and where we come from. It defines our cultures and is a reflection of our distinctiveness. So it comes as no surprise then why we at least have a few good cooks in every family. And this passion for cooking is now fast turning into a commercial way of life for many. With growth in our tourism sector, those joining the kitchens of hotels and resorts is fast increasing, especially aspiring youngsters in hope of one day wearing that toque.
When I was in secondary school, I aimed to become a fashion designer, but then my results didn't go as well as I planned. And my parents asked me to go to do IT in Asinu, but I chose this because more of the side I'm interested in is creative art, and this has allowed me to be imaginative and create my own food and stuff.
Went out for holiday to my grandfather. He basically taught me how to cook soup, which was the first thing I learned. I came back to Fiji 2006 after my holidays, and I started cooking from then. I was in class 6. So I basically took it up as something to always do as my mom left to go abroad to work. So I was the one that was cooking at home for my brother and my dad. So it was something that I enjoyed doing, like every after school, coming home, preparing stuff, making dinner, eating. So it all started from there.
Both Eleanor and Nicholas are students at the College of Business, Hospitality and Tourism Studies at the Fiji National University, based here in Nasese. It's here where they are offered hands-on practical training in a kitchen that resembles just about any commercial kitchen in our tourism sector. But it gets a whole lot better than this. Students here offer fine dining at the Theory Restaurant and are equipped with the basic skills of service and etiquette.
3 days in the week, for instance, in this restaurant over here, the students produce from the menu, internationally, international menus, from international menus that are served in several of the 5-star hotels around the country. So they help in preparing those dishes. And you have the other students who get the actual hands-on experience in serving to the clientele that comes in. That is basically 5-star food at a 5-star service level at $10 a plate. Where else can you get that in Fiji? It happens here all in the name of training, so that you are able to actually bring the real life setup that they would be exposed to in industry right here in the training rooms, and encourage students to follow all the norms and decorums as they would be expected to do when they enter the job market at any level in that industry.
Training is complemented with theoretical knowledge on the mechanics of putting together a menu and planning a meal. It's passionate industry chefs like Purnima and Asala who are tasked with cultivating cookery skills in those pursuing the culinary dream.
We are training the chefs, actually. We are training them to be ready to go to the hotel, because in the hotel they'll do the same thing. the order comes and they have to make the food on time, and it has to be on time, and then it's served from there. Then the restaurant students will take the food and they'll serve it. That's exactly what is happening in the hotel industry.
But even for professionals like them, making the transition from a commercial kitchen to the classroom wasn't an easy one.
When I came from the hotel industry, when I came here, I really find it very slow. Life was very slow because over there in the hotel industry, we keep moving. We are on our feet 24 hours. So when I came over here, I really felt lazy. I didn't feel like sitting in the office. I just felt like going back to the kitchen and doing all the stuff.
There are around 3,400 students enrolled in the cookery and hospitality courses offered by the FNU. And this number is steadily increasing as more people pursue the goal of one day becoming a master chef.
I think there is a lot of interest in this field as well now. I think thanks to the television and radios and all those shows that we have, exposure given through some of our local chefs that have gained international recognition and reputation. I think food, all these different cuisines, is of a lot of interest to Fiji and to people in particular. And we're very interested in seeing a lot of our young students taking interest in cooking and all. It is not a preserve of the opposite sex, so to speak. And a lot of interest from the male students in this area is also coming. So that is very attractive. And we hope these numbers are maintained. For instance, this year already in the commercial cookery side, we have over nearly 3,400 students enrolled in commercial cookery and food related programs. So that is a very new development and is exciting for Fiji. As we also know, Fiji needs a lot of trained personnel in the kitchens, in the food and beverage operations, in the restaurants, out on the streets, the small outlets that you have, fast food operations, to the shipping, the airlines, of course the big hotels, the chains that we have in Fiji as well as in the outer islands. So the tourists and all visiting the country, they need certain standards and types of food that is going to be part of the total experience in Fiji. Elsewhere you see food tourism. I think this is also evolving, and I'm sure with the necessary preparations and so on, we will also see this aspect of tourism also developing in Fiji.
It is important for the students so that they know how to, they can cook when we send them out to the industries. They better keep themselves with whatever we taught them here. They can, so that they can have a good life. Even at home, they can cook at home if their parents are sick. They can do their cooking.
We should encourage, I think mainly we should encourage lots of students to go in this field, because some people, they are really like high classes and they just go for the office and all those stuffs, but they don't know that the other students to also have the talents too. And they are good. You see some of the students, they are educated, they only go up to Form 5, Form 6, but they are executive chefs of few of the 5-star hotels because they have the potential in them. So we should encourage the students to go further.
But that's not to say that many still perceive the food industry as the last resort, something to fall back on when the white-collar job doesn't work out.
When you come to get the experience and you go through all the learning and the processes, it really can, get things out of you, like your creativeness, how you can learn about food commodities and different types of food and what you can do with it. And I think it isn't the best way to call it the last resort, because it can really bring out to certain careers like being master chef, and that's what I want to be.
Because people go out to the industry and they lose interest in it. That's one. Mostly people don't go out, like they go out to industry and they're not treated well, because basically when you start off, your head chef could be 50 years old, you could be 18. So there's a big difference there. So, but like it's all about experience. So if you work in a young place where young people work, so you'll enjoy it more, so you'll want to move forward in it. If you don't, then basically you have to look for places where you enjoy it.
we have tuck shops and we have functions, we have the menu, but most of the time we get the menus when it is in our manual. Whatever we teach our students, we teach them the basics, like we teach them the soup, how to make stock. So whatever we make in the menu, we try to conclude whatever we've already taught our students with it.
This is what we love to do. Cooking is in our blood.
So like 20 to 30 minutes, it's going to be cooked so that the pumpkin itself will be soft so that it's easy to blend.
What I have here is all the ingredients for bread roll, which will be going with the cream of pumpkin soup. I've already measured all my ingredients. I have eggs here, butter, herbs, salt and yeast, and also I already have measured my water.
At the moment, we'll be doing main course for today. We'll be doing fish and roast potato roasting, and some canned vegetables.
Once we have cut these, then we'll just basically marinate in normal marinade, which is onion, garlic, salt, pepper, a bit of lemon juice. That's about it for marination.
What's the difference? You said supreme cut. What's the difference?
Yeah, like it's like the way we cut it, it's like slanted. Like the slanted cut. Like so, if we cut it straight, when we cook it, it will like break. So you cut it sideways.
What I'm about to do is I'm going to blanch this separately. First I'll put in the carrots for about 3 to 5 minutes so that they can cook.
Basically, the potatoes been cooked and then they're in here. So we tossed it in with a bit of butter, egg, and salt and pepper. So then we mix them together, the cube ones and for the mashed ones. Spinach or mother in Fiji. So we're using that. We just put it in the middle plate, and then we'll just add in our potatoes in the middle, just there so. Fish just goes straight up. Add in our sauce and then just a bit of vegetable. This is our sauce, I suppose. We just add it on the side. So we got the carrots, the beans, the pumpkin that were blanched, all added there. And then last thing of all, will just come our sauce on top, the cheese to the sauce. Then we just add a bit of the white sauce on the top.
Food is just another medium, as these passionate soon-to-be chefs say, to churn out their creativity.
I thought I was thinking, like after completing my certificate 3s and 4s and my diploma, do a degree in USP and maybe become one of the most world-renowned chefs in the world. So that's my plan, personally.
Because you can do a lot of different things with cooking. Like you hardly can go wrong with cooking. You can mix different stuff, you can add in your own. You can use even local ingredients. Important ingredients you can use, but you could minimize on it. We have our local spinaches and stuff to use. So everything's here for us, we just have to move into it, and someone has to basically show us the way. Lenny Sito has done that, is in the papers every week. So he's putting out new recipes with local stuff, and also he's probably one of the guys to look at and follow.
But a career with the steamer and the strainer comes with interest and a heart for cooking. And to garner that interest, early exposure to commercial cookery could change the entire perception of the industry.
The whole idea is to also somehow bring the vocations, the vocational training aspects into the school system early on, so that students have wider choices to make in terms of their chosen careers and all. And we all know certain people are more inclined towards certain skills and so on. So early on, and these days some of those chefs that have made a name for themselves are doing far better economically and in terms of name and so on than some of people in the white collar jobs, for instance. And we have lots of examples within Fiji itself. So early exposure to different trades, including cookery, food and beverage operations, etc., is necessary to inculcate that kind of interest and enthusiasm in students at the high school level. And obviously for those already in employment, there is a huge need to upgrade their skills, the things that they can do in the kitchen, the magic that they can do with the Fiji produce, the fruits and vegetables and nuts and what have you, spices.
It's all about making the cookery profession sexy.
Mainly, like, we need people who's experienced, we need people from abroad to come in. Holiday Inn has their chef, which is a French guy. He actually does pretty good stuff. So we just need people to give it its spice from, like, it's probably from the West mainly, because like in the West we have our own hotels and all. So if we're serving white sauce in one and we serve another white sauce in the same thing, so it's basically the same thing. We need to spice it up with local cuisine and local ingredients and all in order for it to bloom, and people will take interest in it. We basically use a white man's white sauce. So what's it for us? So like we could use like lolo fish instead of being white sauce in fish like that. So that's something new to them, and it eventually will grow.
That's why the work carried out by the National Training and Productivity Centre and the FNU in promoting creative arts in the form of cooking is so crucial.
We have seen a lot of movements. Chefs out there in industry that have done our certificate, trade test certificate 2, for instance, and our diploma in commercial cookery, food and beverage, etc. areas are internationally sought after. And as we know, many people leave our shores. So there's all those vacuum that is created in industry. You need the numbers to fit into all these jobs, and at the end of the day, they benefit, Fiji benefits, and those that remit their monies to Fiji, the nation is a beneficiary as a whole.
Food production is very broad nowadays. Keep on changing all the time. Some of the presentation, the cooking process, they're doing the modify or some of the cooking process. So that's why we need those kind of things.
For those responsible for stirring that ingenuity in these students, it's a great sense of fulfillment, especially when measured in success.
Some students, they're running their own business now. Some they're doing some small cake business. They cook at home, they bake at home, and they cook and they sell it. Yesterday one of the students came to me and told me that he baked about the wedding cake for $800. and he's a new student, waiting. That's one thing we want to hear from the student when they come to see us. They want to industrial attachment. That's what we want them to come and say, oh, must I have done this? So which is good. That means we are doing something good in here.
I was so pleased when I met one of my own students who I thought over here she was in that hotel and she was chosen to be a full-time staff over there. So I was really proud of her.
What about those that have started their own businesses?
Yes, there's many who have started their own restaurants, cake shops and other things I've met, and we are really proud of them also.
If you're interested in it, then go for it. It's a good trade. You have good teachers, we have lecturers. I'm not sure about the West ones. I haven't been to the school in the West, but yeah, in Suva we have the facilities that we need in order to get the work done, in order to learn, in order to exceed.
A coach from a French pâtissier, he said that a white plate in a chef's point of view is like a canvas, a painter's canvas. Through that way, like, they have to express their views through the plate. And with that, I hope that we should not stop believing in ourselves, and cooking is not the last resort.
If they are really excited, or they are really about, or they really like, they have the passion for food, they should go for it. They should not go back or think twice or other thing, but they should go for it.
This industry is very vibrant. You have a lot of influences from the media, Western influence, the television and so on. You have tourists coming with high expectations, demands. The taste and preferences of people are becoming more sophisticated. So the institutions and those engaged in providing training to this particular sector have a huge role to play in terms of upgrading standards, bringing in quality, raising the bar, and basically increasing the skill levels of persons engaged in this industry, so that what you have before you on the table is something that is sumptuous, pleasing to the eye. It is of that international stature.
And that's all for this week. We do hope you've enjoyed the show. For questions or comments, do email us, talkbusiness@fijitv.com.fj. Remember, you can view what you've just seen on our website. That's www.fijitv.info, and follow the links to Talk Business. Thank you for joining us. To join us again at the same time next week. Until then, have a productive week.